The most famous dog in the world, Snoopy, has won many of our hearts. His creator, Schulz, is without a doubt the master of comics.
At this hour.
He created one of the most popular and influential comic strips, Peanuts, featuring two best-known characters, Charlie Brown and Snoopy. The story is arguably the longest story ever told by one human being. But how much do you know about this masterpiece exactly?
Whoa. You were right, old pal. A view like this really is worth the effort.
Nice.
Schulz was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 1922 and was nicknamed Sparky by his uncle, who was inspired by the character Spark Plug in the popular comic strip Barney Google, which Schulz enjoyed reading. Schulz is widely regarded as one of the most influential cartoonists in history and has had a great impact on the art community.
I like to think that I bring up some solutions now and then. I suppose one of the solutions is, as Charlie Brown, just to keep on trying.
Schulz was born to a German father and a mother of Norwegian descent. He showed a great interest in drawing and comic strips from an early age and always wanted to become a cartoonist. Schulz sometimes drew his family dog, Spike, which he received when he was 13 after his family moved from Minneapolis to St. Paul. This family dog is the one that inspired one of the most recognizable and beloved characters in his comic strips, Snoopy. Schulz was very shy and timid as a teenager, perhaps because he was the youngest in his high school class, which made it difficult for him to make friends. Because of this, he often preferred to stay at home reading comics published in the Sunday papers, including Skippy, Mickey Mouse, and Popeye. Despite not making many school friends, his teacher immediately spotted his talent for drawing and encouraged him to follow his own voice. This strengthened Schulz's resolve, so he started drawing more regularly while continuing the ritual of reading the Sunday comic strips with his dad. One famous incident during his high school years was when the school rejected his request to publish his drawings in the yearbook. 60 years later, the school made amends by placing a statue of Snoopy on campus. So what's the lesson learned here? Is it never turning down a passionate heart, or setbacks are always nutrition for success? After high school, Schulz was too introverted to attend art college, so he decided to sign up for a correspondence course in cartooning and illustration at Art Instruction Incorporated.
I think I've made some statements on love and friendship that really have not been spoken about before. I think a recent Sunday page where Charlie Brown's definition of love concerned some memory that his father had was something that no one had ever done before.
Two events that had a deep impact on Charles Schulz. One is the conscription in 1942, whereas the other is the death of his mother when he was 21. At the age of 20, Schulz was forced to serve in the Second World War, in his case in France. He later said in an interview that the army taught him all he needed to know about loneliness. Schulz returned to Minnesota in 1945, where he did lecturing for a Roman Catholic comic magazine, Timeless Topics, and then at his own school, Art Instruction Incorporated, where he reviewed and graded students' work for several years. It was there that Schulz befriended Charlie Brown and other people whose names will later become those of his main characters. Schulz also found the object of his affections, a school accountant who flatly refused his marriage proposal. While working at the school, Schulz also studied and drew in preparation for his career as a comic creator. Some of Schulz's early work, such as the first group of his regular cartoons, which were a weekly series of one-panel jokes called Lila Folks, was published by the Sampo Pioneer Press. Schulz kept it going for 3 years until 1950. It was essentially an embryonic version of Peanuts, hinting at characters and things which Schulz later would continue to explore. After gaining experience with various newspapers, Schulz decided to approach United Features Syndicate, one of the largest and the most powerful comic distribution companies in the United States and the world, with Lila Folks, and the syndicate became interested. By that time, Schulz has also developed a comic strip usually using 4 panels rather than 1, and to Schulz's delight, the syndicate preferred that version. The syndicate agreed to publish the series of his comic strips, but to his dismay, they decided to change the name to Peanuts, which was provided by the sales manager rather than Schulz himself, as there was already a trade-market cartoon called Little Folks. Schulz never liked the name Peanuts and struggled to accept it for the rest of his career. Nonetheless, the first Peanut strip made its debut on the 2nd of October 1950 in various American newspapers, including the Washington Post and the Chicago Tribune. At its height, Peanuts was published in 2,600 papers in 75 countries and in 21 languages. Schulz was the sole writer, illustrator, letterer, and colorist for a total of 17,897 strips over 50 consecutive years. The strips plus merchandise and product endorsements produced revenues of more than $1 billion per year, with Schulz earning an estimated $30 to $40 million annually. The style of Schulz is minimalist and features dry humor. Reading Peanuts also means getting to know this cartoonist, his fears, anxieties, and the unrequited love for the red-haired girl. Although in reality, he actually married twice and had 5 children. To start, the series focused on 4 characters, which are Charlie Brown, Shermie, Patty, and Snoopy the dog, who was initially just a dog and did not express himself. As the years went by, Shermie and Patty faded into the background, and new characters like Schroeder, Lucy Van Pelt and her brother Linus, Peppermint Patty, and Franklin took their place. It's worth noting that Franklin, the first black character, was introduced shortly after the assassination of Martin Luther King. Charlie Brown, the strip's lead character, is stuck in his ways. He's often impatient and in 50 years of comics never manages to kick a football. However, he keeps on trying, teaching us that one should never give up. Lucy Van Pelt was modeled after Schulz's first wife, who's known to be bossy, selfish, and often comments and judges situations sarcastically. The scientific journal The Lancet even described Lucy Van Pelt's character as the best-known psychiatrist of the 20th century.
You need emotional outlets.
Linus, meanwhile, Lucy's younger brother, another very important character, gets his psychological security from sucking his thumb and his comfort blanket.
Much better.
Snoopy, this character, after its debut in the series, took on increasingly anthropomorphic features and began walking on 2 legs. The The dog imagines himself living countless lives, for instance, becoming a First World War pilot pursuing the fearsome Red Baron, and a college student known as Joe Cool, or a professional ice hockey player. No adults ever appear in Peanuts. The stories only describe situations experienced by children who think like adults. So Peanuts may have looked like a strip that is designed for children, but over its 50-year lifespan, it has actually addressed themes like art, faith, existentialism, race, war, and feminism. So to say this is a strip about childhood is foolish. The beloved character Snoopy even went to space in the mid-1960s. Following the 1967 Apollo fire disasters, NASA officials contacted Schulz to use Snoopy as their safety mascot. Schulz helped design the pin for the Silver Snoopy Award, which was presented to aerospace workers towards outstanding contributions towards safer spaceflight operations. Until this moment, Snoopy has been on the job and continues his role as NASA's safety mascot. In December 1999, a terminally ill Schulz announced his retirement. The final Peanut strip was published a month before the cartoonist's death. Respecting Schulz's wishes, the Peanuts comic strip stopped with the artist's death, although the animated series and other forms of entertainment continued. Schulz has proven that comics can be a powerful tool in exploring human emotions and all the nuances of life. His legacy influenced generations of cartoonists and enabled the rise of successful artists like no one else.
The dog's name is Snoopy. That's a pretty good name. We'll keep it.